Travis Wayne Goodsell. Season 4 is finished with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because according to YouTube's analytics, the majority of you come to my video for the first time, so you're completely unaware that I have other videos. And those who are new, who think that they're clever if they don't agree with something I've said, they think they can make fun of me, as I've talked about in other videos, as well as this previous one that I did. Alright, so before I get started on Season 5, to get caught up, yes, I know Season 6 is ongoing right now, but I've already seen those. I finally had an opportunity to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I'm a little behind, just like I'm behind on Blacklist, which I'm also trying to watch as well. So for many of us, we've heard about and even experienced in our lifetimes those who have come from religious cults that make predictions about the end of the world. And as I've pointed out to you guys in the real LDS history, Joseph Smith Sr. was a part of the New Israelites, and Nathan Wood, the leader of that organization, had the belief that I can't remember the exact date, but right around 1900, 1901, that the end of the world was going to happen in America. A destroying angel. And so he had everybody gather, and the town folk got scared that they, the cult, were up to something. And so they sent the militia in and broke up the organization, and Nathaniel Wood fled to another state and is never heard of ever again in history. And Joseph Smith Sr. went on his way and got caught up in another conspiracy, another threat to America. This time it was real. But today, everybody is dismissing that threat as the incorrectly defined conspiracy theory. And who, of course, is leading that charge but the ones who are perpetuating it today? But for Mormons, they still have the title Latter-day Saints. And because they're Latter-day Saints, it's the latter days, which means time for their Jesus to come back to earth, destroy the wicked, purify the earth. Why are you popping up now? And establish the millennial reign of peace, where Jesus, as a glorified, exalted being, will come and sit on his throne, either in Adam-on-Diamond or Independence. There's some confusion. And everybody will be happy and peaceful as they are worshiping at Jesus' feet. I don't know how they're going to eat or sleep, go to the bathroom. I guess they'll be twinkled. That's a Mormon thing. Twinkled so they don't have to tinkle. Although it does say that they get live to 100 years and then die and quickened. But again, when you're dealing with prophecy of Scripture, you've got to be extremely careful how you interpret it. Alright. Clear the screen here. My arm is sore. Aggravated my tennis elbow. Carrying the weak supply of Mountain Dew. So, if you've been paying attention to my other videos, I've talked about the born-again Christian in my art class with Swigheimer in high school at North Crown Coronavirus. And he was an excellent artist. I mean, his dragon pictures were awesome. And if he's not doing anything with those today in computer graphics, what a waste of a life. But he honestly believed the literal interpretation of the Bible when it says Lucifer is the dragon. And so he believes Lucifer actually is a dragon. Not a human, a dragon. Like Game of Thrones, dragons. The thing is that that's what caught my interest in religion. I mean, yeah, I was going to church with my parents, but it was like, this is my parents' thing. They're dragging me along with them. It was not until I read in the Bible about dragons that it was, oh, man, my arm is shaking. That I was captivated. I was hooked. I wanted to know everything about dragons. Then I saw unicorns, and I had just seen that Legend movie with Tom Cruise. And so, man. And then, of course, I see the Egyptian stuff and our Pearl of Great Price, and I asked my mom, what is this, Mom? What does it say? Oh, that's higher learning for adults. I don't accept that answer, Mom. I'm going to find out the answer for myself. And that's what got me in trouble with the church. They didn't provide the answers because they don't have the keys of the priesthood of translation. And so I then said, I'm going to find out for myself. And I found out. It's not quite the first vision, but it's the first vision for me. Because all these different voices were given all their different opinions and of what the facsimiles were saying, and what they meant, and how they were to be translated. And should I quote Joseph on this from his church history in 1838? Arm. Need to put it in a sling. Alright, Joseph Smith history. Yeah, let's see. During this time of great excitement about the book of Abraham, remember, I'm likening the scriptures unto myself, Mormons. Where was I? My mind was called up to serious reflection and great uneasiness. But though my feelings were deep and often poignant, still I kept myself aloof from all of these different contradictory voices. Though I attended the Mormon church as often as occasion would permit, except for that one after October 31st Sunday session where my parents surprised us that morning and say, hey, guess what, guys? We're singing in sacrament meeting. Oh, my stomach. Oh, I think I had too much candy, Mom. And so, yeah, but the bad thing is that while my parents were away, I was watching the Dodger game. And my dad came home early to check up on me. Uh-oh. Anyway, where was I? In process of time, my mind became somewhat partial to Joseph Smith, and I felt some desire to be united with him. But so great were the confusion and strife among the Mormons that it was impossible for a person, young as I was, and so unacquainted with Egyptian and things, to come to any certain conclusion who was right and who was wrong. See how this works? Isn't this fun? My mind at times was greatly excited. The cry and tumult were so great and incessant. The Utah Mormons were most decidedly against Joseph Smith. And the Canadian Mormons, against the Canadian Mormons and the California Mormons, and used all the powers of both reason and sophistry to prove their errors, or at least to make people think they were in error. Huh. On the other hand, the Canadian Mormons and the California Mormons, in their turn, were equally zealous in endeavoring to establish their own tenets and disprove all others. I'm sure this has no basis in fact and reality, does it, Mormons? In the midst of this war of words and tumult of opinions, I often said to myself, what is to be done? Who of all these Mormons are right? Or are they all wrong together? Wow! If any one of them be right, which is it, and how shall I know it? While I was laboring under the extreme difficulties caused by the contest of these Mormons of fundamentalist views, I was one day taking a biblical Hebrew class and deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. Never did any discovery come with more power to the heart of man than this discovery did at this time to mine. It seemed to enter with great force into every feeling of my heart. I reflected on it again and again, knowing that if any person needed wisdom from God, I did, or how to act I did not know, and unless I could get more wisdom than I then had, I would never know. For the teachers of the Mormon Church, the prophets of the Mormon Church, of the different wards, different stakes, different states, understood the exact same facsimiles so differently as to destroy all confidence in settling the question by an appeal to the Book of Abraham. Huh. That's exactly what Trump has done to our government and the press. Huh. At length I came to the conclusion that I must either remain in darkness and confusion, or else I must do as my education at the University of Lethbridge taught me. That is, do the research. I at length came to the determination to do the research, concluding that if science gives wisdom to them that lacked wisdom, and giveth liberally and upbraided not, I might venture. So there you go. There's my first vision. And so, yes, Joseph was correct for the most part. He made some errors, but his general theory is sound. And he didn't finish by any means. And so you may be saying, well, what about the Book of Mormon, Travis? He didn't translate the Book of Mormon, he looked at rocks in a hat. Joseph had nothing to do with the Book of Mormon. If you're not listening to my videos, it was not him. Sidney Rigdon mostly. And Joseph Smith Sr. was the overseer of it because he was the master mason. And then Oliver Cowdery, the son of William Cowdery, who was also a part of the New Israelites, where they learned all these fun little things, he also knew about it because he was the one who transferred Sidney Rigdon's manuscript pages onto the copper plates. So, yeah, Joseph Smith Jr., his job was to distract Martin Harris, who wanted to pay for it if he could be a part of it. They couldn't let him know about the whole plans because of the anti-Mason movement. And so Joseph's job was to distract him with his little hat trick and make Martin Harris think that he was a part of the publication of the book so that he would pay the money. Unfortunately, the first draft, the first 116 pages, were too much Freemasonry for Martin Harris to handle. So he took it back to his anti-Mason committee in Palmyra, and it was destroyed. And that almost got them in trouble, because if they had found out Joseph Smith Sr. was in charge of it, and they knew the Smith family, that would have been the end of it. They would have been exposed, and they would have had to flee the country as well, as William Morgan had to flee with the help of Joseph Smith Sr. And so, when you read section 3 of the Doctrine and Covenants, Joseph Smith Sr. as the Lord is furious with his son for blowing his one assignment. And so, yeah. But this was Armageddon, guys. They knew of the threat to America. They knew that the signs in the Bible referred to America. Why do you think they wanted to build Zion in Illinois? Let's see if I've still got that. I should. I don't think I... Well, maybe I... Oops, that's the wrong... McConkey, GoFundMe, Alvin Smith, Harmony, Joseph Smith Presidential Platform, his 1840 discourse. That, I think, is it. Yeah, on July 19th, 1840, Joseph Smith gave a talk that Brigham Young wanted nothing to do with in his Doctrine and Covenants. Just like the King Follett Discourse, not in his Doctrine and Covenants. And so, let's see if I can find where that was. Whole nation of the earth. Peace until servants. Built up and redemption takes place. So bear with me as I search for it. I think I figured out how to edit out segments from my video on my video maker. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if I want to begin to try to work on that yet. I'd rather try it on something else first. Okay. I remember what the page looked like. The temple to the Lord. Okay, minded, corners, no. Maybe this isn't it. Maybe, no, it has to be it. Church, Madison, worship and holiness, holy trust. For Zion and Jerusalem must both be built up before the coming of the Lord. Yep, there it is. Got it. Listen to this, guys. This is awesome. And think of what I had as my theme. See that on the computer screen? It's pyramids. The Giza pyramids replicated over and over and over again as a city. And it's titled Utopia. And no more sands. It's got greenery at the bases. That was my idea for a city. To build step pyramids, not the Giza pyramids that are flat pyramid shapes, but similar to ziggurats, but more so of step pyramids of Egypt. So listen to this. See how Joseph and I are of one mind? Alright, let's see. Let's see, but before this time of sudden destruction shall be, these who are now my friends shall become my enemies. You mean Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball are Judas? And shall seek to take my life. And there are those now before me who will more furiously pursue me, and the more diligently seek my life, and be more bloodthirsty upon my track than ever were the Missouri mobbers. He knew he was going to be murdered by his own. But that's not what he and I were on the same thing. I'm the one who came up with me. So all of you owe me an apology. You say among yourselves, as did them of old time, is it I? And is it I? But I know these things by the visions of the Almighty. Starting to get an understanding of why Brigham Young did not want this in his Doctrine and Covenants. He had no problem the year before he died saying that section 132 was Joseph's. But not this one. But, brethren, come ye, yea, come all of you who can come, and go to with your mights, and build up the cities of the Lord. Here it comes. And whosoever will let him come and partake of the poverty of Nauvoo freely, for those who partake of her poverty shall also partake of her prosperity. He's talking about elevating the poor out of poverty to make them prosperous. Is the church doing that with their hundreds of billions? I don't think so. And it is now wisdom in God that we should enter into as compact a city as possible. For Zion and Jerusalem must be built up before the coming of Christ. Don't you mean Jesus? He says Christ. Doesn't he mean Jesus? He said Christ. If you're not watching my videos, you are clueless. How long will it take See, because if you're not catching on, he's comparing himself to Jesus. Jesus, as the Christians believe, is the one to come back at the second coming. They don't listen to John in Revelation chapter 12. No, we aren't going to listen to that. It's Jesus. And if any other scenario happens, we refuse to accept him. This is what Mormons do also. Mormons have their own understanding of how the second coming is going to happen, and any other scenario will not fit in their belief system. And it's booted right out of their minds. Same with Christians. Listen, Mormons, this is your founding prophet, Joseph Smith. Pay attention. He's saying he's not coming back a second time to restore the church that's going to fall into apostasy with his assassination. He says another person. Now, your brain is probably racking furiously trying to recall all the second coming passages as you've neglected my video series. But yes, Mormons, you're not looking for Jesus. You're looking for an anointed one from among the corruption and apostasy of the Brighamite church to stand up against the church, destroy it, and restore the true church that Joseph Smith attempted but failed because he was assassinated. To restore the true kingdom as the government of America collapses into a monarchy, destroying the constitutional government that we were supposed to have. Are you paying attention? Are you now understanding what the Smiths went through in that 1826 anti-Mason movement? The threat is real, guys, but we're not done. How long will it take to do this? 10 years? Yes. More than 40 years will pass before this work will be accomplished. Oops. He was murdered. He didn't get to accomplish it. We were supposed to have the cities of Zion and Jerusalem already built by now. We were already supposed to save the world, save the Constitution, save the United States. But Joseph was murdered. And the Mormons, instead of fulfilling Joseph's prophecy, are waiting and waiting and waiting for their current prophet to say, "Hey guys, Jesus is here. Let's build Jerusalem," or the New Jerusalem, Zion. You got played as chumps, Mormons. We all did. But we're not done. He still talks. And then these cities are built, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. It was supposed to be done before the 2016 election. And Mormons failed. Now let all who can coolly and deliberately dispose of their property come up and give of their substance to the poor, that the hearers of the poor, hearts of the poor, may be comforted, and all may worship God together in holiness of heart. Do you see the difference, Mormons? Joseph Smith is talking about having Mormons give all that they possess to the church so that the church can give to the poor. Joseph is not talking about hoarding the money, investing it in the stock market to make multi-billions of dollars for the coming of Jesus. He's saying we're going to elevate the poor out of poverty before the coming of the man Christ. Huge difference, Mormons. You got played as chumps. And so here we go again. Where did I leave off? Before I go, how long will it take to... Oh, it's accomplished. These cities are built. Then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Man. Not God. Man. Son of Man. And I've gone over this over and over again. Ezekiel is called by the Lord Son of Man. A huge difference. There is no second coming of Christ, just like there is no second coming of Joseph Smith Jr. He's dead. He's gone. Someone else is going to take over. Big difference. Now, let all who can, coolly and deliberately, and probably come and give substance to the poor, hearts to the poor be comforted, and all may worship God together. Take care of their physical needs first. Then they can focus on their spiritual needs. In holiness of heart, come, brethren, come all of you, and I prophesy in the name of the Lord that the state of Illinois shall become a great and mighty mountain. Where's the city of Zion in Jerusalem? Illinois. What's in Illinois? Or what was to be in Illinois? A great and mighty mountain. Why Illinois? If you're not aware of the signs of the last days, you're not going to catch on. There has been one total solar eclipse already over America, and it's going to cross at a certain place in America for the future one in 2024. That place that it crosses is southern Illinois, Little Egypt. Joseph knows this. And in fact, he knew it so well that Kirtland and the farm right below Palmyra, I think even Palmyra was covered in it, that's the 2020 total eclipse. It goes over those areas and then crosses in at southern Illinois. Now, if you've not been paying attention, Karen had emailed me, as I mentioned in the other video, said she's not coming, so I'm desperately trying to cool down the apartment as I was warming it for her. But the 2017 eclipse, Mormons, are you paying attention? It went over Adam-on-Diamond and Independence, Missouri. And so for that other Yahoo, John, who made the comment, which caused me to make that video, he's not getting it. He's not paying attention. Alright, so that was Joseph's plan, to build a pyramid city, like my vision for utopian cities. We think alike. I found out about this the other week, because the church isn't publishing this. They don't want me to know about it. And yet I was searching for something and found this, and wow. And so when I found this, I was thinking, I need to do Joseph's actual books. Even though he didn't write the Book of Mormon, I should at least have the Doctrine and Covenants as he wanted it. Get rid of all of the mistakes that future Brighamite people did to it, and messed up with additions that shouldn't have been added in, like Section 132, and restore its origin and see what we have. See how much difference we can identify. Alright, but let's see. That the state of Illinois shall become a great and mighty mountain, as a city, a mountain city, a pyramid city, set upon a hill that cannot be hid, and a great that giveth light to the world. That 1800 language. Ugh. The city of Nauvoo also. See, Nauvoo is up in the northern Illinois. He's talking a little bit down south for the city of Zion and Jerusalem. You now catching on? Do you now understand what the Book of Mormon was talking about when it says that Lehi left Old Jerusalem to come to the Promised Land? Jerusalem was the Promised Land. So you're saying it's a new Jerusalem on America? Yes. Let's see. State of Illinois shall become a great and mighty mountain, as a city, light to the world. The city of Nauvoo also shall become the greatest city in the whole world. Oops, he was murdered by those he said were going to murder him. I think that is all I wanted to discuss on this. So, yeah, Mormons, get over yourselves. Awaken, arise. Get out of your slumber. The church isn't true, guys. They murdered Joseph, took his religion, merged it with Scottish Rites Freemasons, with the form of the York Rites that Joseph had, and turned it into the Church of Lucifer, the great and abominable church. And so we will close with a scripture. What am I doing? No. Great. Abominable. It's got 18. Let's see. Praise the destroyer of the world. Section 29. Doctrine and Covenants, section 29, verse 21. And we will leave you with this thought, Mormons. And the great and abominable church, which means it still exists, Mormons, despite the Protestant Reformation, which destroyed the Catholic great and abominable church. Joseph is talking of another one. Remember, he prophesied in 1840 that I just read to you that his own people want him dead. And the great and abominable church, which is the whore of all the earth, shall be cast down by devouring fire, according as it is spoken by the mouth of Ezekiel the prophet, who spoke of these things, which have not come to pass, but surely must, as I live, for abominations shall not reign. can go over section 1, verse 16 if you want also, because he's talking to Mormons there too. That's where he says Babylon shall fall. The end is near, Mormons. I myself have the church by their testicles. No more to spread their seeds of corruption. My lawsuit is checkmate. They cannot defend against it. I'm not allowing them to settle. So they have a decision to make, as their lawyers are panicked right now, because they got my complaint. And I'm waiting for the waiver to be returned to me. Because they've got to figure out now, what are they going to do? It's over. That's the only thing that should be on their minds right now. It's over. I'm not counting on them giving up.